Hi folks, and welcome to this tutorial. And in this tutorial we're just going to be doing some sketching of joints, and probably two of the most popular joints we're going to do here on the left hand side first, and then a new type of joint on the right. Okay, so the first joint I'm doing is the finger joint. Now, why am I doing the finger joint? I'm doing it because it is probably the most common joint method that you would see applied at junior cert level. Okay, so I did the setup already, just the basic setup, and now I'm going to go through the fingers here. So if you just follow along likewise. And what you want to do is try and make an even number of the fingers in the sketch, okay? So space them out as evenly as you can. And do them all lightly first, and then we'll worry about where the end grain is, etc. So as soon as you start picking the end grain, make it every second one then after that. And keep going then, and we'll just finish it out. Now, the other thing to say to you folks, some very good sketching coming in, but you're not colouring it. And remember that, and I've heard this from examiners before, those who colour their drawings, it's a subconscious thing that they will score higher in exams. So make sure you're shading in your drawings as well, okay? And just something to say on that, when you're shading, if you're using two finger joints, more than likely use the same kind of timber, but sometimes if you have a light and a dark timber, it can look very well if you're doing that for your project next year. And also, it can be quite forgiving, the joints, because if the joints aren't perfect and you fill them with glue and you've a dark colour and a light colour, they can be forgiven to each other, shall we say. Whereas when you've two light colours and if you have a big gaps in and glue in it, the glue will come up in a solid black line and it would make, it just doesn't look as good, okay? Or it's more forgiving the other way. So let's say you've one in a dark timber and the other one in a lighter timber of pine. I'll just colour them in there. Right, so in the next one we're going to do a dovetail joint, okay? And I've gone ahead and I've just lightly sketched in as though it was finger joints, okay? And what we're going to do is I'm spacing them out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again, just like I did up here. But on the second one, I'm putting in 2 little dots here, and on the fourth one down, I'm putting another 2 dots. Now, where that would have been if it was a normal finger joint, what we're going to do is we're going to slope in the lines to these points here. And what these are going to become for us is like the pins, okay? And then from them points, the finger joints that we would have had, they're just going to get that little bit bigger, okay? So we'll draw out our lines here to the edge first. And then we'll drop them down like so. And that'll be our dovetails there, and then we'll go again as usual And we'll put in our bit of green in it. And then we'll make sure to colour them up, okay? Now, the last one we're going to come on to is a new type of joint, and I just said I'd throw it in because it is kind of interesting. And where it would become of use is if you had, let's say you were making a small stool next to you, or a chair, and you had a leg, and you had a rail here. It's something quite unusual, and you would very rarely see it, okay? So the finished one, again, I've gone and done just a setup of a leg there, okay? And two rails, they're all the same size coming in to meet each other, okay? And if you want to do it, we'll do the finished sketch of it first, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do an exploded sketch of it after that. So what does it look like when it's pulled apart? Just finish it in lightly first, and then you can bring in your heavy lines. Now, when you're looking at it in this view, it's fairly complicated, or it's hard enough to see what's going on. But the three of these are very well put together. So the leg has just like four little pillars sticking up from about this point onwards, going up, right? Okay, and then the other two are kind of hooked in on top of each other, latching onto each other. So we'll do an exploded view down here now, and you should get a better idea of it. And then we'll go color it in as usual when we're finished, okay? So on this one, what you're looking at there is you have like four legs sticking up out of that, okay? And the other guys now are going to sit into it. So when you're sketching the other guys, line them up there, okay? So just bring up a few light construction lines to get yourself in the right position. And keep them all the same length. Like this guy here now should be about the same length as that side. This guy here should be the same length as that there. This guy's going to go down halfway. Now that's your second joint. So he's going to slot right down in here, okay, until this guy is level with this guy down here. And the next guy now is going to be going off in the opposite direction, okay. So again, continue on up our light construction lines. So now you can see the use of you getting them construction lines, because once you bring them construction lines up, okay, they all have to lock down into each other, and it's quite an unusual joint. If you were making something like that, if you were asked to in the brief next year, I think it'd be a good one to go with. It wouldn't be that hard when you know the measurements, once you make up the measurements, and you know, it would be something quite different than what most other people would have. So I'm just going to go ahead now and finish colouring that. So folks, make sure when you're handing up your sketches, you have them coloured, okay? So I'll stop talking now and we'll colour in that 3 different colours just to make it stand out a bit, okay? So that's it, folks. That's the last sketching for the year. So please get that up onto OneNote as soon as you can, and I'll have a quick look over it. Other than that, folks, take care, and I hope you have a great summer. Okay, good luck.